But yeah, nigga is not a curse word. Nigga is gender neutral, and only a select people of the population are allowed to use said word.
You talk to your dog with that mouth?
Yes.
That's
And it's a
crazy.
lot cleaner than his.
You're in the presence of littles.
I am in the presence of a very beautiful little.
Exactly. Watch your mouth.
No,
But
but
not say.
littles just can't littles can't speak on grown people business. Go ahead in your little corner with your stuffy. I got you some coloring books, some the fancy crayon with like the 32 colors, and
Okay.
let me go ahead and cuss about on the phone.
Now you're just bribing.
Ain't no bribes here. Just another episode of Big Letter Little Letter Podcast with your host Hedo.
And me, Jam.
And we'd like to welcome you back to another episode. Do I know what number? Not at all, but we here back again to record for another week.
20-something.
20 something. Yes, indeed. And yes, we missed recording last week because some tomfoolery where my power went out because apparently there was an accident or something. So, sure. And then packing stuff for a trip to a certain resort. And I can make all the excuses in the world, but look, we back.
It's because you are trying to get in all of your episodes of your other podcast and you just forgetting all about me.
First off, the other podcast is Hitchhiker's Guide to Ethical Non-Monogamy, E&M for short, hosted by Ike. I am Hedo in this moment.
Mm-hmm. I know. And I've been trying to keep Ike on track as a perfectly good service that and different.
And you've been doing an amazing job. Like, you even got a coordination of like 3 additional people for the follow-up of this episode. So I really do appreciate you.
I'm very excited.
It sounds like it'll be a fun, long episode.
It will be, but we're gonna give them the basics today. But before we get into the basics,
We gotta do our Kinky Weekly.
yes, because
So,
I had a good ass time.
well, since you had a good ass time, what you had going on?
I went to Mexico.
I was about to say Arriba, but that might be the wrong country.
I'm not. We're not gonna do this on the internet. I
Telemundo.
had a good ass time. No, it's not like I was there by myself. Like I went to Mexico all by myself. You were there.
I was there. Hey, Rumi.
Hi, Rumi.
Yep, it was. I roomed with Jam and another good friend of ours, Fifi. It was a ball of a time. We went for like, was it a 4 days, 5 days, whatever, with Limitless Lux and the Harder Soft podcast crew. And it
I
was a
think that it was very
huh?
their first trip. Well, it was both of their first trips, really.
Yep.
And I think that we had a really good group with us and it made it amazing.
I had a great ass time. I mean, I will always be one to say, look, you can improve in certain elements, but in the overall grandiose of things, it was great. The resort was dope. The pool was nice. Now, would I compare? So the resort we went to was Temptations Cancun.
Mhm.
And the reason why we were in Temptations Cancun is because Temptations Punta Cana closed the month before our trip. So
Which is hilarious considering that that timeshare people wanted us to buy into it. And I so badly wanted to be like, but didn't one of your resorts close?
all right, technically it didn't close, but they sold it to their sister property, Desires, which is more the clothing optional type resort.
All right, we'll see what they do. But I wasn't buying into nothing without a plan.
That was just so funny. We can talk about that a little bit later, but yes, it was essentially a time. I call it a timeshare. Is they're trying to sell it as like, if you're going to vacation anyways, vacation with us type of deal. But the
Hmm.
amount of money involved, I'm like, look, you asked for a 10-year commitment, and the whole time, hey, what you want to drink? Hey, what you want to drink? Hey, what you want
Right.
to drink? Like, no, I've been doing this BDSM shit for what year are we in? So I've been a part of this for like 8 years or so. I would say about 8 years. I've been a part of this, knowledgeable of it for about, wow, damn, time is flying. 14 years I've been at least aware of it. Um,
You're old.
but yeah, I could tell coercion. I could tell consent violating, where it's like they tried to ease you in with the, oh, you can always say no. I said no. What happened? Next boss. No, next boss. To which I did get on Jam's nerves because my brain short circuit, like my ADHD kicked in full effect.
Yes, we have two very different things going on. You're an over explainer. I'm gonna end it all, please, because I'm done. And it was chaotic. But besides that, the pool was a good time. It really was the majority of our trip, as I say so. Besides, like the work,
The workshops were cool. Of
I
course,
got the demo
again,
bottom.
I can give some. Your mic kind of went in and out.
Damn,
Make sure you're facing the mic when you're talking.
I move a lot.
Yeah, you do. I have you on video. But yeah, overall, it was a fun time. Got some kink stuff to go off. We did classes with Master Lola Smiles. One involving breath play, the other one involving impact, where Jam was a demo bottom.
I was. I got to try
I can't hear you.
braided leather pieces.
Could you repeat that again?
I got to try a combination flogger. Can you hear me now?
I heard combination flogger.
The combination flogger with braided leather pieces.
Okay, heard that one finally.
Okay. But that was a. I just love trying new things. I also got to try a fire hose paddle.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice.
See, I'm trying to buy one of those, but I need old boy to like email me back because it's like, yo, I'm trying to give you my 250 because I want it, but I need you to get
You
back to
have
me.
one?
Huh?
Don't you have one?
That one's like velvet. I want the actual like fire hose material kind paddle.
But velvet feels nice.
It does feel nice, but also I want a little more thud with it. I want something bigger where I can go whack 'em.
Of course, you want something bigger.
Yes, size matters.
Anyway,
Beyond that, it was overall a pretty good time. I did end up tying up Jam.
yes.
I'm rusty with my rope. I need to go ahead and get back to it.
I
It's
mean, people have really good reviews of it. They really liked it.
but like I said in that class, I have a consistent imposter syndrome going on that keeps me on my toes because I do not feel settled at all, and all the skills I have and everything I've learned, I still feel like I know I could do better,
It keeps you safe.
and that's how we operate.
Right. But I do want to mention that I still have not gotten waxed. That's crazy.
I mean, hey, I don't know to say whose fault is that because the wax was lit.
Okay, but it wasn't used on me. Somebody forgot to get a lighter.
I didn't forget to get a lighter. It's just that I was unable to get the lighter. No,
Uh-huh.
like I wanted to buy a lighter and I was gonna leave it there anyways. But then multiple people told me that they had lighters available. But
Uh-huh.
the last dinner kind of
Uh-huh.
took longer than anticipated to where I thought in my head like, oh yeah, this wax is not happening.
Okay, well, that's something we're going to add to your preparation list because we should have been had the lighter, babe.
When you're flying international, you can't fly with a lighter.
We'll talk about this later.
Okay, we have a criminal on board. But no, let's go ahead and get into the episode because we're doing Super Bowl Sunday and,
Mm.
trying to go ahead and sneak in this episode. This is going to be light, ain't going to be nothing heavy. We can get into the heavy shit next week when we have our guest on.
I'm so excited.
I could
I
tell.
was just like so giddy. You didn't even respond to the messages the way I wanted you to respond to them because I was very excited when I told you who I got. I needed more exclamation, more good job, more good girl. Wow, you deserve.
Those will be provided when we talk about, because outside of, you said you got a tamer, a dragon, a kitten.
A bunny.
Oh, a bunny. Like
Mhm.
we haven't really discussed it yet, so I haven't been able to provide you with the proper accolades because it'll be one thing if I see that and then I'm just giving praises out the blue. Like, we gotta talk. Like, I need to talk to you face to face. And then, of course, you're gonna get all the good girls because you are a good girl and I do appreciate you.
Okay.
But I guess y'all can infer from the fact that we brought up bunnies and dragons, oh my. Today we're gonna be bringing up the letter P for pet play.
Pet play. As our fellow kitten, I am very excited.
I mean, hey, what is your actual kink scene name?
Persian.
And so you can see we have a little kitty of our own in our midst.
Hmm. But I'm really excited to talk about pet play because I don't want everybody to feel like they have to be a kitten.
I mean, which is fair because there are so many different aspects and varieties when it comes to pet play. It's not just limited to puppies and kittens. There's so much more that can you can pull towards that.
Yes. So, well, first, let's tell them what it is. What is pet play?
All right, a jam, aka Persian. What it
Mhm.
is? What is it?
Well, it's a type of dynamic where one or more partners takes on a persona of an animal. So you'll often see like pups, kittens like me. I've seen ponies. I've even seen some cows. You know, the girlies are really into the cow print lately, and it's in pet play. But it can range from like really light play to where you just have like a collar and a leash and maybe you make the sound, maybe you wear ears and a tail, to more intense play or like more advanced play, I guess. Where someone's playing in a cage or they're crawling on the floor, maybe they're following commands, maybe they're eating out of a bowl. Um, and then the top or the dom in that situation is often referred to as an owner or a handler. But in some cases, people who identify as pets might still refer to their top as just their dom, especially if they're engaging in other kinds of play.
So I'm about to say, when you brought up the cow thing, I have been running across quite a few Hugh cows on FetLife.
Right?
And for the uninitiated, the Hugh cow are essentially big-breasted women that bring on the cow aesthetic, the cow prints, the horns, the whole above.
Mm.
You get into hentai, you will, yeah, Hugh cow, Hucow. But I mean, I could say, like, for me, I don't know how I feel about pet play as of yet. Like, because I mean, it is an added on level of responsibility and temperament that one must have in order to be a handler or an owner of that aspect, because it's almost on the level of master slave in terms of how deep that dynamic can go,
Mhm.
but is not as intellectually poignant because when a master slave you still have the idea that you're dealing with two humans that understand like words and commands, versus when it becomes handler pet where it's a pet, they're going to react on instinct. It's not if you say sit and they don't sit, you can't just react as if you're upset at them because they're not sitting. Like, that's not the established dynamic that y'all got going on there.
That's interesting. I was thinking that, especially when you go deeper into pet play, for people who want to be in more total power exchange situations, pet play might be something they get into, especially when you don't like to use the terms master and slave. We're black here. Like, I get it. There's a lot to work through. But pet and owner could be a little more fun. But then again, you do also have that aspect where it's like, I'm no longer playing human. I'm now playing pet. Maybe I'm not allowed to sit on the chairs, and I am fed when you decide to feed me.
I was just literally thinking about it where if we were to move forward from if we wanted to like be melanated and kind of want to get into an MS dynamic, maybe we just switch it to master indentured servant.
Indentured servant. That's a lot of syllables.
I mean, look, that's what it was before the whole slave thing happened, where it's like, yeah, hey, I own you until a certain time period because of certain obligations, and then when the obligations are done, you're free.
That's how most people got into America.
All right, history lesson over. Black History Month. Um, but no, let's actually move forward and go into who would be into pet play. And honestly, this is this is not me researching 50,000 people and getting all the answers of the top 100. No. This is from my observation and it seems like the people who are into pet play are those who are more inclined in exploring their primal nature. It's those who wish to relinquish control to a trustworthy owner that will take care of all their needs, or at least someone that would adore and spoil them as they would their own pet or their own animal friend. That's who I normally run into as far as who would actually be into this kind of play, because you'll have
Mm,
the little they just want to be adored in whatever aspect animal that they are, be
mhm.
it a bunny that likes to just hop around and gets occasional pets, whether it's a kitten that wants belly rubs and wants to purr and nuzzle on whoever. Like, it's literally just giving into just instinct versus the general day to day life that we have to essentially walk through in order just to get to tomorrow.
I like that description. Just giving into instinct.
Because I mean, before we even talked about this episode, I was like talking about my own pup, Antonio. Like I'm like, I was having a big brain moment where it's like technically, like I mean, he has no feelings because we made up the concept of feelings, not in the sense that he doesn't have like the things he feel are purely instinctual. There's no like extra level thought into like, oh, I feel these things because of this because no, it's just like the way he goes about it. Hey, this might cause me harm. Instinct is fear. Hey, this like on our end, we make multi level thinking concepts of certain things, and that's where it kind of like we sometimes go down to our instincts whenever push comes to shove, life or death, fight or flight. That's when we go back to instinctual. But in our day to day, ain't nothing too much that's gonna require instinct. Like we gotta literally stop and think about like what we're gonna eat tomorrow.
Nah, feelings. They make things complicated.
Feelings are fun. Y'all better grow a pair and learn how to manage them.
Well, when can I let go of these feelings?
Okay, so in regards to when and where these things can happen, on the extreme cases in public, where everyone can see it. Shout out to New York. Like now, I personally don't, and I'm positive that Jam doesn't either. We don't condone these kind of actions where you'll see someone walking on a leash, in the middle of the street, crawling with a dog mask. Like there are people that have done that publicly out and about.
Germs.
But the reason why I personally don't condone it is not because of the play itself. That's all fine and dandy. My only issue is that you're kind of kinky without the consent of those around you. Like you have someone that's out there getting coffee for the office, and now they're seeing someone with their balls hanging out their underwear, crawling on all fours, like humping your leg. That's I'm here for the consent. That right there is not really that consensual. Like I get it when certain adult film productions do it. They purposely lock off a block and get hired people in order to fill that kind of role. But when you want to do it just for GP at Times Square, it's like, come on now.
That's a lot. No one asked to see that. Thank you.
Some people do, but still,
Right.
consent. Now, in normal cases, you'll normally see pet play at play parties. Like there are actual play parties that are specific to pet play. I personally wouldn't be surprised at a furry convention there was a pet play situation that occurred
Right.
in like certain hotel rooms where these conventions take place.
Of course.
But in general, pet play can also just happen within the safety of your own home or space that is for the people involved with said play.
I mean, I pet play all the time, but my pet play is not so extreme.
See, again, I haven't really partaken in pet play or daddy dom little girl play. I pretty much keep it to top bottom DS dynamics as of now, and
He says,
rope
but
bottom.
if I put on my ears and ask him to pet me, he will.
I don't appreciate you outing me like that.
I gotta keep it to myself, but I tend to sway the masses consensually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, now, Miss Kitten, why do you in particular like go for pet play?
I mean, I really like what you said about just bringing it down to your instincts, but I think that I've always been a kitten. That's just my nature. So when I said about people engaging in other types of dynamics and sometimes their top is not all the way in on the pet play, it's kind of like how I am. Like I identify as a kitten first and a little kitten first. But that's because like I want to lay in the sun. I stretch every morning. I want to be pet. I'm still working on my purr and what that looks like, but I think that's when we get into more the sexual aspect of things. But I think when you think of what a kitten does, that's pretty much how I am. I like to snuggle. I want to lay on your lap. I want to sit at your feet while you're doing work. Like, and just feeling into it. So I think for anybody, only that person can say why they would get into pet play, but that's what it is for me.
About to say, or you just want to knock over something off the counter.
Maybe sometimes you weren't listening and you needed a message.
Okay, but I can understand that. Because I would say I haven't really felt that need in general, but also I do believe that when it comes to like pet play or anything to that effect, like I said, daddy dom little girl, there is a needed connection between the two people. Like I feel like that kind of dynamic is not something you walk into saying I want an owner. It's more like let me get to know you. Okay, I trust you. Okay, this is what I need. Oh, you can provide it, and then you enter said handler pet dynamic versus hey, I'm looking for an owner. It's kind of hard to do that off the rip. I feel like that's something that has to like have some level of progression because
Yeah,
even now I have an individual where I have consented to them calling me daddy. I'm okay with them saying it because there was something that was built and established to where it is like, okay, I can see how I'll be okay with this because of X, Y,
mhm.
and Z versus the random New York nigga that hit me up on
Oh
a
god.
FetLife and was like, hey daddy, how you doing?
No, please. Oh my god, I got one. Did you see? Uh, I got one unhinged because my
Oh.
question is let's be on the same topic about and mine says like kink consent relationship style. And he goes, hi mommy. I was like immediately no.
Look, I feel like all right. Quick cliff notes, seeing a couple of messages, like on there you just see kink consent and relationship status. So when I had to slow down and think about it because someone brought up a good point. Like maybe they're not reading it as you asking them a question, but just you just have a statement.
No, at the top when you click it, it actually says let's be on the same page about, and then it's those things.
Did you? And I'm like, maybe they're not even looking at let's be on the same page. They just see those things. Not to
Then
excuse them because it's like, look, context
no,
clues
that's
is not
fine.
hard. Like,
If you're illiterate, that also we're all not on the same page
look,
about.
Blue's Clues should have taught you to realize, oh, okay. At the bare minimum, not one of them said, oh, yeah, my relationship status is. Like, I feel like I would be okay if they simply just said my relationship status is this
Right.
versus like all the things that I've seen.
Yeah. It's bad. I share my woes often. Dating is basura.
And of course, she shares without giving off the names of whoever these individuals are because we are
Dude,
respectful like that.
I only give the words. The terrible, terrible words.
All right, all right. We do got to wrap this episode up, but of course, if we're a podcast that ends with kinky and safe and kinky, what safety concerns may you have in regards to pet play?
Yeah, so in the general sense of things, pet play can be pretty safe. But again, when we were talking about like the walking people on the leash in the street, like, just thinking about that, I'm like, do you have on knee pads? Are you wearing a mask? Is the floor clean? Like, those are general considerations. But I think when you want to get deeper into pet play, on some more of the extreme sides, you're doing like training for these people. You don't really want to use the traditional animal training techniques on humans like shock collars because those pose a threat. And shock collars do say not for human use. So please follow that. I know we call Home Depot, Dom Depot, but still we need to be safe. And then we also need to think about like having appropriately sized cages, collars, awareness of holding a leash because you don't want to be holding a leash, forget, and now you're yanking it and then you're jacking up somebody's neck. So it's important to be really safe, really vigilant when you're observing your pet, when you are being a pet, and especially when you're engaging in restrictions like bondage. And some people use masks that cover their mouth, nose, or eyes. So, like Hedo said, like you have to build a rapport with somebody and a really deep understanding before you engage in this kind of play.
Yeah. All right. That's honestly that's perfect. Now, for those that are listening, again, we will get into deeper stuff next week. But
Yes.
for the individuals that heard her about the shot collar, she is correct. That's something that you don't want to do. Like you don't want to get a shot collar. But alternative, because again, I have a very creative mind when it comes to kink, pleasure, and pain. Don't get the shot collar. Get them a regular collar, but get a cattle prod, the one that's human safe, because there are those options out there. Get you a cattle prod to use in place of said shot collar.
Aren't you a creative fellow?
A little bit, but yeah.
That's what I love about you.
But overall, this is again, it's a form of a release. Like BDSM, kink, all these are various expressions that we are using for a certain release. Be it sexual, be it tension, be it stress, be it repressed feelings that we apparently can afford $120 to speak to a licensed therapist for, even though still go to therapy. But it's
Just
just
go to therapy.
that's all this is, and pet play is just one of them. Because
Could be fun.
do you so Jam, do you remember the Hard or Soft live show?
Yes.
And we had 4 as the final guest there.
Yes.
Because yeah, that gentleman, like, he broke it down himself. He didn't get, I wouldn't say trouble, but he got outed because some people are horrible people and they wanted to embarrass him. But no, like, he's into it himself. He said himself, it's kind of like a whole, like, it's what's the words that he used? It's kind of like it's essentially a release for him. Like, he really does fuck with this shit. Like, he truly
Yeah.
enjoys it.
He really
And
does.
and in that
But that's what I'm
moment,
saying. Like, it should be fun. At the end of the day, when you're doing things in kink and BDSM, it really should be fun. If you're not having fun, why are you doing it?
because no, 'cause I was even bringing it up because in the reverse, like I said, with public display, it was 4 along with Mistress Marley, Goddess Rue, and I can't remember who the third person is.
I cannot help you.
It'll pop up in my head eventually, but yeah, it was essentially that was a public display of pet play where they walked 4 up into the stage. 4 was crawling. They were like doing the whole thing, and then they did, of course, some impact and whatever when they got on stage. But that was a public display of pet play that was consensual because everyone that came to the show knew what they were signing up for.
Right.
Now, it would have been a little weird if they were walking up the street in that fashion, then into the show. They would be like, oh, how y'all go from like non-consenting to consenting?
Again, I'm a germaphobe. It really freaks me out.
All right. But once again, this has been another episode of Big Letter, Little Letter podcast. Jam, you got anything to plug for the people?
No, but next time. I'll save it for next time.
All right, save it for next time. All right. You already heard the mini plug earlier on. Be sure to check out my other podcasts, Hitchhiker's Guide to E&M, where we just talk about just non-monogamy, be it, polyamory, polygamy, polyandry.
You get to hear
relationship anarchist.
I ramble on and on about the things that he knows and the things that he hates.
I don't ramble. I express. There's a difference.
Express.
If you have any kind of questions, concerns, or thoughts, be sure to send them to bigletterlittleletterpod@gmail.com. Be sure to follow us at bigletterlittleletter on Instagram. I don't think we have a Twitter.
No, we don't.
That's okay. I barely keep up with the Instagram.
It's okay. Well, I'm working on our Instagram as we speak.
Perfect. And yeah, we'll just be sure to catch y'all next time. Make sure y'all stay kinky and safe, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.